Good afternoon. My name is Sean Webb. I'm the Director of Community Engagement and the Director of the Desert Sands Educational Foundation. We are here for a special edition of Classroom Conversations. We're here with the staff of the Palm Desert High School. I'm sorry, we're here with Principal Zink from Palm Desert High School and his PTO and Palm Desert High School Foundation team. Before we go on to them, just want to thank the Desert Sands Educational Foundation for providing this platform in this format, allowing us to engage our community this way. The mission statement for the Desert Sands Educational the Desert Sands Educational Foundation secures funding and awards money to provide supplemental resources that enrich and enhance student learning in Desert Sands Unified School District. My name is Sean Webb. And I see that somebody is on us, has got it on their computer. So let's make sure to turn that off, one of our presenters. But, we partner with this district and we partner with schools, and no better than to partner with Palm Desert High School. So with that, I want to go ahead and introduce Palm Desert High School Principal, Mr. Dennis Zink. How are you doing, sir?
Thanks for having us tonight. I really appreciate my Palm Desert High School Parent-Teacher Organization, or PTO, and our educational foundation, known as the Palm Desert High School Foundation. Most people don't know this, but that is really the gold behind Palm Desert is our parent groups and how involved they are. They do an amazing job of supporting us and keeping us on track on a lot of things that would and sometimes become slipping through the cracks at other schools. So I'm really appreciative of these groups. I want to introduce you first to Gerry Neighbors. If you could just wave for me, Gerry. Gerry is our Palm Desert High School Foundation. And then Gillian Van Gilder, who is a co-president of the PDHS PTO. And I also have Jackie Fenson, who is the co-president of the Palm Desert High School PTO. So we'll start with Gerry giving a brief introduction and description of our foundation.
Sure, absolutely. My name is Gerry. As you know, I'm the president of our Palm Desert High School Foundation. I have a senior, my last son, that's going through the high school right now, and just really excited to be part of our foundation and things that we've done. Our foundation's been working super hard over the summertime, just adjusting to all our new normal, and we have some real exciting things to share. I do want to explain the difference between foundation and PTO real quick. Foundation is our fundraising element of our school that we raise funds to give to help elevate our academic programs at our school. We do a fantastic job, and this just helps to make things even better. Last year, we gave over $70,000, and we are changing things a little bit, raising our funds. I'm planning on doing the same thing to help keep our kids on track just like before, as if nothing has changed. So thanks for joining us tonight.
And I'll just jump in right there. This year's major contribution so far, they funded our new program called Pre-AP, which we're offering in social science department, as well as all ninth grade English students taking Pre-AP English this year, as well as all of our arts. So we want to thank the foundation for supporting us there, and that'll be our big focus this year on curriculum instruction and academic support coming from the foundation. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Just to add to that, our PTO, we work just hand in hand with our PTO. We adore them. Our PTO's main focus on campus is more hands-on, helping our staff, our students, and our administrators, and just school spirit. So we're super excited to have our co-PTO presidents here.
Okay. Hi, Gillian here. I am PTO co-president with Jackie, and basically PTO's main function is to sort of create a balance or a link between our awesome staff and administrators and our parents to help, create something that the parents can come to each month and give ideas or feedback and help join committees or work well with us to do things that help make the campus better and for our students and for teachers and whatnot. And we do little things like lunches and snacks and things for the kids during breaks and finals and those things. Those are some of the smaller things. We also help with the bigger things, dances, ASB, help those things. We help support all the groups around campus. So
Can
right
can I
now,
interject?
sorry.
Can I interject real quick,
Yes,
Gillian?
please.
Those
Yes.
aren't little things. The things that you guys do
Sorry.
for the staff and everything, everybody at Palm Desert High School is absolutely amazing.
I'm
For those of you
nervous.
that
I'm
don't know,
sorry.
I was an assistant principal there and worked with these three wonderful ladies for all of 2 years ago, and it was just amazing to see everything that you guys do for the staff as well as the community and the students. So you
Oh,
guys go above and beyond. So no thing that you guys do is small. You guys are doing amazing things over there.
thank you.
And
You're
I'll
so
add,
sweet.
as you guys know, the mantra for Palm Desert High School is all in, and our parents are really all in. My favorite event that the PTU hosts is the chili cook-off every year for our staff. It's a staff luncheon that they host, and it's every one of our staff members looks forward to that every year. The PTO group does an amazing job with that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Jackie,
Thank
how
you.
you?
So, are you done, Gillian? I'm sorry.
I just wanted to touch on the community thing because right now we're in such a unique situation with the things that we're going through, and it's nice to give the staff and administrators a chance to do what they're going to do that they've been training for the next 6 months. So we hope that parents, are all in, as we like to say, and give everybody, a chance to do everything right before we, decide that something. Because I think our students look to us to see who we're going to get mad at and to see who we're going to be happy with, and I think it's a good thing to be supportive right out of the gate and encourage our staff and our students. And then one other thing is that it's I'm a part of a mom's chat, as you will, from the high school, and we talk to each other from big things to did everyone get the same email to little things of little problems that we're having that maybe you just need another parent's advice from. So my advice to everyone right now especially would be that if you're not a part of one of those chats, maybe you be the person that creates one to kind of keep the glue, to keep everybody together, to ask little questions that you don't necessarily need to call the school about. And if you're not a part of one and you don't know anyone to be a part of one, reach out to us on our PTO Foundation Facebook page. And I'm one of the moderators of that, and I can definitely reach out to you and try to help you get one started, because I think it'll make a big deal and give you a sense of community to help, ask questions.
And Gillian, I want to point out that you said it best there. Communication. Communication is key during this, and especially when things are changing every second, every minute, every day. It is definitely key to find out and know who you can trust. So definitely get involved with those groups. I love that.
Right. Okay, Jackie, you too.
All right. So, speaking of communication, first of all, you want to make sure that you are up to date with your email and your cell phone number with the district. So, Mr. Zink is very good about sending out communication via email. Be sure to get that updated if you've changed your email. If you're not getting anything, go on to your district website and get your email changed, or call the school and they can help you, just to make sure that your email is current. And your text number. I've been getting texts from the district recently, which is fantastic. Also, a way to get a lot of communication, way to help the communication pathway, is to come to PTO meetings. So our first PTO meeting is on August 31st at 5 p.m. It's a Zoom meeting, so you can do it straight from your home. It's not difficult to get there. It's after work, so hopefully you'll be able to join us. It's August 31st at 5 p.m. and we'll have a Zoom link go out with our weekly communication, email communication. So we'll put a Zoom link on that, so you can join us for that. Also, we have Facebook pages, Twitter pages, Instagram pages for PDHS, PTO, and Foundation both have them, or well, we have them combined for Facebook anyway. So there'll be a lot of things put on the Facebook pages. So check those daily, because you might come across some things that you haven't that you missed in your emails. So that's a great way for communication.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you got some kudos coming in here, so I want to make sure to just pop them up on screen. You've got a school parent, as well as she's related to a staff member, who's saying this is the hardest working PTO and amazing community leader. So you gotta love that. And then you got a Palm Desert High staff member who's saying some great things too, who's looking forward to a great start to the year. So as different as things are, everybody's looking forward to things. And I got to give myself a little shout out. Mrs. Kugas has noticed my shirt that I'm wearing here.
Yes, I saw that too. Way to represent.
Yeah. Yeah, but some
So
great
Good job.
comments
Good
there.
job.
And I
Yeah,
want to add
and-
a couple plugs. They talked about social media. You also can follow at PDHS Official, which is the school's official Facebook and Instagrams, or you can find me for communications. I don't put a lot of our communications on Twitter and Instagram. It's usually of our students, but you can also follow me there as well. If you do a search for PD Aztec Zink, it'll show up. Couple other things of plugs I want to get at. Our community organizations are vast. I know that, but I have a couple that I want to. I know that the PTO is involved in, like some other things like NCL, who serves the community as well. And then we have a new one coming out that's started by our students and run by our students called COVID Childcare, and that's focused on providing childcare for first responders and people who are on the front lines of the COVID crisis. So that's a really cool organization that'll be out on all of our social media coming in the next week.
And Mr. Zink, I want to say that you had some alumni create that are just maybe freshmen and sophomores in college.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah, Dessa Killian is the one name I do know, but
Okay.
I know there's a bunch of, they're all college students that are running it, but they've been working with our current ASB students
Right.
to get that up and running, and it's
Wow.
a really cool organization.
I'll tell you what, it's absolutely amazing. I actually researched them a little bit as soon as I saw the article, and it's great that they're all coming from their different colleges. A lot of them are based out of Palm Desert High School, but it's happening through. There's one in Santa Barbara, there's one in San Diego, there's one in Sacramento. That all the students are focusing on helping healthcare workers. So it's great that something that Palm Desert High alumni are doing something, not just for the Coachella Valley, but for all of California and the areas that they're serving.
And it's the cool thing is that they team with our current students, so we keep that culture going of serving the community. And what makes Palm Desert special is our community. So kudos to them and the PTO for helping us with all of those things. So thank you.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, like I said, you got some blasts from the past here watching as well, and he's giving you a little thumbs up here, Mr. Zink. Mr. Hicks is watching.
Saw that.
Yeah, look at that. So, Mr. Hicks, thank you very much. Give him a little shout out to the PTO and the foundation there too. And
We miss you, Mr. Hicks.
And Jackie, you got a little personal shout out too, so that's always good to see.
Well, thank you.
And I got to plug
Thanks,
myself here
groupies.
too, Mr. Hicks. Thank you, appreciate it. All right, I believe Mr. Zink, you're going to talk about online registration and so forth.
Correct. I'm gonna do. Jackie gave me a great segue into this. Was talk about communication.
Oh, okay.
I got a lot of calls this summer about communication, so I want to be clear about how we're communicating. All of the mass emails, mass communications we send out goes through your parent view access, which relates to online registration. We'll talk about that in a second. The students also get it in their student view access, but every parent communication I send out is also on our webpage for school communication. And that's usually up there until there's updates, and then they may go away, but because it's replaced with newer information. So I want to make sure parents understand that if you're not getting communicated with, that means there's an issue with your parent view account, or your email has settings that your spam is picking up all those communications and putting them in spam. It's not that we're trying to exclude you. So let's move into the online registration. As you know, this is the most important thing that parents need to do every year, and this is because this is what dictates our communication with you. You can see your students' grades, attendance, all the communications we send out, and in distance learning, it's going to become even more important because student view and parent view accounts is where you're going to be able to join your Zoom classrooms. All the links will be in there. All of those things will happen right in your parent view accounts. Online registration opens tomorrow. You go to your parent view account, update it. It'll ask you all the questions you need. If you do not yet have a parent view account, go to the DSUSD website, and there's specific directions on there. I have also already sent letters home to parents with links in them so that they can access that online registration. But that online registration is open for 2 weeks, and it begins tomorrow. It's a little delayed this year because of distance learning. So, we apologize for that, but we've had a lot going on. With all of the technology that we're having to get up and running for distance learning, in order for online registration to work effectively, we had to delay it because there were so many updates going to happen to Synergy and Parent View and all of those things. So be patient with us, but go on starting tomorrow. You'll also start getting more letters from me requesting you to do that again tomorrow and Tuesday. So really important that happens. So I'll field any questions you have about online registration. If there are technical questions about passwords and all kinds of stuff, I'm going to push you to the DSUSD website because it's pretty clear on that website on how to set up that Parent View account.
And I want to point out also, Mr. Zink, that at Desert Sands USD on Twitter, they're sending out notifications and reminders for families.
Yes.
So they can sign up for those things as well. I know they just had a Synergy one there. They had another informational meeting from Ed Services. They also have an informational meeting coming up on Monday at 5:30. This is brand new as of this weekend. Special education moving forward with Desert Sands Unified School District. So that's Monday at 5:30, and they're going to have Assistant Superintendent Laura Fisher on with her complete team to talk about special education services. So they realize that families are, they can easily see this format via Zoom, Facebook, whatever it may be. So we're going to make sure to have this information for them, and so we can communicate it out.
The other thing I would add to this is that our returning parents know that I sent a survey out asking about where you get the information from most often. And I think I gave you 4 options: school district, Palm Desert High School, our community groups like PTO Foundation, and then your friends. The most popular way for information is through your friends. Okay, but it's probably the most inaccurate, is what I would tell the public. Okay, you guys have all played the telephone game and when you were in school. As that gets filtered, the accuracy of the information you're receiving is pretty weak. So I really, really encourage you to go onto our webpage, follow us on social media, and most specifically, if you want to hear from me in person directly, either via video, Zoom, or when we get back to school in our normal meetings, I always call my time with the PTO as the grilling time, because I just open it up for questions, and the PTO is able to ask me anything that they want about what's going on, what our plans are, all of those things. And I think that you guys can disagree with me, Gillian or Jackie, but I think I'm pretty good about answering any questions that come up in there. There's not too much that's out of bounds on that. So I think that's an important message for us to get out, is that I'm actually there live in the PTO and foundation meetings where you can ask me questions about specific issues that you're either concerned about or you have questions about.
And I'll say, being a former staff member just recently as an AP, as well as a teacher when I was there 12 years ago, that PTO newsletter that you guys sent out, I want to say that was my go-to as a staff member. I felt that was one of the most accurate because, with your PTO and the foundation, you guys have built in, you've got embedded relationships with people in the office there where it's just easy flow of information going back and forth. And I know that PTO just gets that out to everybody. So it's pretty amazing.
Sean's talking about our PTO e-blast that comes out every Sunday.
Yes.
And the PTO is amazing with this. They have all kinds of information from our College and Career Center, our counselors, every department at the high school. And that letter, that e-letter that goes out to your email comes out through Parent View every Sunday.
Okay.
Can I add to that also? If you are not receiving a message once a week, please let us know, because PTO is faithfully sending out an e-blast weekly. So if you're not receiving it, leave a message with the front desk with the information. Maybe we have your email wrong, so we can correct that, because it is valuable information that it's your go-to. Completely agree, 100%.
So we have somebody that just who manages the newsletter saying they don't actually do the newsletter anymore, but they're putting info on social media, so they can continue to do that. So it seems like it's going to be on a little bit more active
basis.
The
e-blast still happens, Sean. You're referring to a different, the newsletter was a little bit different.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I'm sorry. Wrong terminology. Sorry.
Yeah, the newsletter used to go out quarterly, and the PTO decided not to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But the e-blast is still regular every Sunday, digital. So, which is what I believe you were talking about with all the information.
That's exactly what I was talking about. I just used the wrong terminology there. Sorry, guys. You know, when you take me away from a year, I'm sorry. I forget things.
We'll get you back in shape before the night's over.
There we go. There we go. Well, so we haven't gotten any questions in regards to online registration. Maybe if you want to move on to talk a little bit about what the first day of school is going to look like.
All right. Well, I mean, the first day of school, most of the parents will not see unless they're jumping on the Zoom classrooms with their students. What we need to talk about is the day before school. Okay. Again, we're talking about, so the students don't actually have to do online registration because they all have a MyDS email address. It's called MyDS. As soon as they're registered with us and in our system and they have a class schedule, okay, that's how they'll get their Zoom links. They'll be able to sign up their Google Classroom. They'll get emails to prompt them to sign up in the Google Classroom. It is really important that you let your students know that happens on Tuesday this week. Okay, we release the actual period by period schedule at 3 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon. At that point, you should have all of your students' first day of class Zoom links and Gmail accounts ready to go right in there for you. The teachers will send that to you directly. So the students will actually get 6 of them.
Okay.
Is my guess. So, I mean, they'll probably get 6 about joining Google Classrooms, and they'll probably get 6 more with the Zooms. The students will be able to join Zoom either via the email that they get with the Zoom link in it, or going straight into their student view accounts, either on their Chromebooks or on their other devices, and be able to jump right on. Okay, so it's real important they're checking those on Tuesday afternoon. The reason they'll get those Tuesday afternoon is because we're still balancing classes, getting them ready to go, and then they'll be released at 3 o'clock on Tuesday.
Okay, wow.
So, and then if we talk about the first day of school, the biggest question is going to come that I've been getting from parents is, are my students going to be on the screen from 7:45 until 2:40? The answer to that is probably not. That's going to vary by teacher of what they have to get through in their live meetings. If you remember, I've sent out communication already saying that they do have to have live daily contact with our students. Okay, so each teacher is going to have live daily contact, but the time within that class period is going to vary. Okay, a lot of them are going to be using the Avid 10-2-2 strategies where, they'll have the classroom will be split up into segments. They might have to join that Zoom classroom multiple times within that hour and then do independent work, or they may be have direct instructions for 10 or 15 minutes, some independent practice, and then be in a group chat within the Zoom with their peers. So that all of those things will be utilized by our teachers, but you will see direct everyday live interaction with students beginning on the first day of school.
Fantastic. I have a question about that. Is it the same link each day that they use to get on the classroom?
Remember that the teachers have with our Zoom updates and our Synergy updates, they will be able, those meetings will be pushed through their student view account probably daily. That creates a random code for each meeting because it improves security.
Excellent. So all the kids need to know that, not to stress. They will get a daily, right.
We have a couple of questions coming in. This one, is the Tuesday 3 p.m. schedule the same as the schedule, including order? They got at book pickup just with links.
So Kelly, to answer that directly, they got their class preferences. That means that what they got when they did the book pickup were the classes they're in, but not necessarily the order of the classes they're in. That is what will be released along with which teachers they have at 3 o'clock on Tuesday.
Okay, and then we have another question that just came in. This is, are parents going to be invited to join Google Classroom for each class, or is that up to each teacher?
That's up to each teacher. Most of ours probably will. They will send you direct information via the Google Classroom through Synergy and Parent View. As far as seeing everything in the classroom, Some things will be there, some things won't, depending on which teachers using which features of Google Classroom and Zoom.
And that's where I want to just give another plug for Synergy. You know, it's always good to have that right on your phone so families can be able to see their students' attendance, see their academics and what's going on in the classroom. Definitely. Okay, no other live questions there. We already answered how they're going to get the links. We already there was a question that was given to us ahead of time, but I believe we answered that. This is one. Will students be required to have their video on when on Zoom? That's a question that we had came in.
When we're doing attendance and all of that, there will be a time where they are required to have the video on in the classroom. Now, okay. The whole time, probably not, because you're going to be going in and out of Zoom breakout rooms and those types of things. Probably not. But when we're recommending at our site that they have the video on so that we ensure students are who they are, number one, and all of that. The second piece to that is we are going to focus heavily on teachers connecting to students, our social emotional learning pieces and training that we've gotten over the last couple of weeks, and we're going to do more on Monday and Tuesday. It's really important that we connect students to school under distance learning, which is what we were missing in the spring. We're well aware of that, and I'm really focused on that. That's especially focused on freshmen. You know, the PTO and Foundation returnees are always hearing me talk about how important it is to connect ninth graders to high school. And you're 80% more likely to be to join a college, and 80% more likely to graduate if you're connected significantly as a freshman. So we're going to put a sorry, I can't speak tonight, a heavy emphasis on connecting to freshmen this year, and our teachers are, you know, that's going to be difficult. You know, we're in distance learning, you know, and that's going to be hard. So we have to put extra attention on that this year. So that camera feature is going to be pretty important, I think.
Okay, we do have some more questions there. This one just came in. Is there a minimum time requirement for each of the class periods?
Well, the class periods are our normal 6-period day. They could be asked to be joined multiple times during that time period with video links, etc. But there isn't a minimum for each segment of the Zoom links or anything like that. There is not a minimum.
Okay. And here's a question about registration. Actually, that's not about registration, but here we go. Are teachers broadcasting from school, from home, or both, depending on teacher choice?
We have both. Okay, we bought a video camera for every teacher that's in their classroom, connect to their desktop computer. So we do have the capability to broadcast live. That's also important when we consider if we ever have to be in a hybrid schedule. That will be an important live piece to what we do every day in a hybrid schedule. But for distance learning, right now, I'm going to respond to that question based on right now, which is during distance learning. Teachers had a choice with me whether they're here or not. Some people are going to be in a combination classroom where they'll be here part-time and at home part-time. And that was teacher choice. Under the MOU, they were given that choice, so the memorandum of understanding between the union and the district. But it also requires that we give 24-hour notice if they're coming and going. We need to be able to still continue all the contact tracing that we need to do for where teachers are and where people are on campus. So knowing where people are is going to be a real important piece in order to keep people safe going through the pandemic.
Okay.
Hope that answers the question.
Okay. And here's another one. What time does registration begin tomorrow? I'm guessing it opens up when school opens up, traditionally around 7 o'clock. I'm not sure if you have an actual time for that, Mr. Zink.
I do not have an actual time, but I would say 8 o'clock probably, just because most people get to work at the district office and here between 7 and 8, depending on their hours. So I'm guessing 8 o'clock it goes live.
Okay. We have a student activity question here. kind of wish Mr. Killing was on, but maybe we can answer this one here. Will you be doing clubs? Will they be doing Zoom type meetings? If so, how can students find out about them?
We'll push that out the same messaging we do through Student View. If a teacher is a advisor for a club, they'll be able to send out Zoom meetings, etc., through their Student View accounts and their MyDS emails to all the students. So they'll be able to be notified that way. Yes, we expect the clubs to get going.
Okay.
It may take us a week or two to get into it, but because our fourth period course for ASB students will be active, our course for Aztec Impact will be active, our course for Link Crew will be active. They actually are in those courses. So those student groups and those advisors will be pushing out to the other club advisors to get rolling with clubs. All the students will be notified as those clubs begin. So.
Okay. We have another parent here that's Parent View specific, and I don't even know the answer to this. Hopefully you know this answer, Mr. Zink. Is Parent View same for both parents, or is it different accounts? I'm assuming it's personal per account. Maybe our PTO parents can help us out here.
I think it's different.
Yes.
Okay, it's different. So,
yes.
Okay, so.
And I think it has to be different because we have blended families and
exactly.
we respectful of that. So I don't know the technical issues with that. If that's a problem for any parents, email me directly and I will put you in touch with the person that can help you to ensure that those accounts are separate and you can both view student information. I'll help you through that process. That's the first time I've ever had that question. So
Same here.
But I do know that I know that parents do have their own accounts. Okay. So, I think that's important to that we're respectful of those situations.
Okay, and as I flashed it up before, Mr. Kandari's watching. Thank you, Mr. Kandari, for watching, one of your teachers, and he has the answer to the Google question. He was on one of the trainings in regards to Google Classroom. Jackie and Gillian, I'm sorry, that's covering your face.
That's
but
okay.
talks about Google Classroom. They're not in, but it's a daily email update. It doesn't sound like they're actually in the classroom, but it's updates only because.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, the different features, Sean.
Yeah.
The teachers have the ability to send out their Google calendars, Google Classroom calendars from their Google accounts or their Google Classroom straight to the parents from Synergy.
Okay.
Being a member, it's the priority for students to be a member of Google Classroom because that's where the grades are housed, grading happens, all of that stuff. But for the parents, they can actually see what's due through both the emails that they get from Google Classroom, but also through their Parent View account because those will be linked to the Parent View.
I have a question.
Okay. Yeah, go right ahead, Gerry.
So I have a question. I have two sons that are online distance learning. And so what happens if the internet is not strong enough and they're having issues with getting kicked off the internet? Will the school help with better internet? I mean, how does that work? What happens if internet is not good at your house?
The district has its own network, right? If they have their Chromebooks, they can connect to the district Chromebook if they're in our boundaries. District boundaries. For students that have difficulty getting an internet connection or paying for an internet connection, those types of things, we do give some MiFis out, but those will be only given out if they live in areas where they can't get it and they're having a problem with the connection.
So I can speak to that direct as well. I was on with Ed Services the other night. So if you have a Chromebook at home and you're having issues, you still have to notify your school site, and the school site will then issue you a MiFi. The district is lucky enough to have our own LTE network. So we do have our own MiFis that we can issue out, as well as they do have a program that they're working on, lack of a better term, a better MiFi, because as you guys know, you could be with Verizon, you could be with Sprint, you could be with whoever, and you're always going to have spotty issues everywhere, but we do have some other programs available too. So if you do have an issue with MiFi, Wi-Fi, even Gerry, like if you're having an issue with your two children at home, you can notify the school site as well.
And I think we gave out about 50 or 60 in the spring during distance learning.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we anticipate again for this fall as well.
Now, go ahead, ladies.
I had one other thought. And so do the kids have to do Google Classroom on their Chromebook? They can do it from their own PC, correct? Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
they can access their material from any device that's connected to the internet. It's all internet based. So yeah, it doesn't have to be.
excellent. Okay, great.
But all of our students at Palm Desert High School have a one-to-one Chromebook. So
That's correct.
they do have one. They do have that. And if you're having issues with chargers or, Wi-Fi or the Chromebook problem, you email Mr. Diffie and or the library, and they'll set up a time for you to come pick up replacements.
Now, this next question, before I go into it, I just want to say, Mr. Zink, I think it's pretty awesome that every other school site has got a concept in their schedule right now that you had in your schedule 2 years ago, and that's office hours. And you guys were just forward thinking, and I was part of that team where we went out and visited school sites and brought families and brought teachers and everybody. And so we know what office hours looked like at your school site last year. What is it going to look like this year?
So here's what I would encourage everybody to do. So, I mean, I don't know what the other school sites concepts are for office hours. We were the first one to have office hours. I mean, obviously that's become a buzzword since distance learning started, but we've had office hours this will be our second year full-time implementation, and it's permanent because my staff voted again last year for the schedule change, and we had 90% say yes to it. We only had 4 teachers that were concerned about office hours for various reasons, not because it didn't work, but because it didn't work personally in some ways for some of the programs that they were interested in. So, but anyway, I would encourage everybody to go to our website. At the bottom, if you scroll way down to our website, there is a video of office hours that explains to you exactly what our concept is office hours. It's actually a video of mostly me, but I have some teachers and students in it as well with me. And we'll be rolling out some more videos as we get closer to when we reopen, obviously, because we're going to have to retrain, especially our 9th graders and all of our other students, on how to access office hours conceptually when we're in person. It'll look a little different. I want to explain office hours in distance learning. In office hours in distance learning will be invite for teachers, giving invites to students. If a student is invited, they have to go. That's going to be the recommendation. If they're not invited, there'll be sign-ups. Each teacher will have a sign-up for office hours, and they'll be able to sign up for the teacher that they need help with, or anything that they need struggle with. They missed a test, any of those types of things. The same concept as we always do. I mean, that time is for the students to use and choose what is best for them to extend their learning and or to make up things that they've missed, or to get any kind of RTI in a classroom. So did that answer?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
It made sense, but I have a question in addition to that. I'm just kind of thinking of things like scenarios that could happen. But say each child has to be somewhere during office hours. Is that correct?
Yes, that's the intent.
Yes.
It's going to be a little more difficult during distance learning, but yeah, the intent is, I mean, if we're in a school site, they're all somewhere.
Yes.
Right? Like, during our regular office hours, when we're in person, like we did all last year, every student is in a teacher's classroom or one of our extension classes or our enrichment programs that we have going on. Normally we have speaker series in the lecture hall. We have AP study groups in the library. We have counselors running sessions. The counselors will run sessions again during distance learning as well. The social emotional learning that I was talking about, how to reduce stress in a digital environment, those types of things will be covered in office hour sessions by our counselors. So if students are struggling with that or need help with that, those things will be offered regularly 2 days a week for our students to access. You remember last year we had our counselors were bringing therapy dogs during office hours. They had yoga, mindfulness during office hours, all focused on social emotional learning. Those things, the enrichment pieces do require, when we're in person, they will require you to be an Aztec scholar, which means that you have no F's, no D's, and 3.0 or higher during office hours to access those. If you don't have that, then you're expected to be with your teachers, making up work and improving your grades in the courses that you have those grades that need recovery in. So that's really the purpose of office hours. Our sophomores through seniors, did a really good job last year of accessing that and understanding what the purpose was and taking advantage of it. In all classes last year, we had 17% more A's, over 10% more B's. Wow. If you look at our panorama data, our school connectedness went up by 30 points. Self-efficacy went up by 30 points. So we know that office hours really is important for our students, and it was really impactful this year. And that's a permanent part of who we are now as our culture at Palm Desert. We just have to make it work right for digital learning because it's very different in the distance learning scenario. So instead of giving students as much choice as we normally do, it's going to be more invite and signups.
So I'll tell you, I've had the privilege of having a couple school sites do webinars like this and so forth, and all of them have followed pattern, and they have a version of office hours. And I think it's great that you guys were first to have it in the district. It's kind of pretty awesome. We got another question that's office hour specific. If a teacher, is there a teacher who's willing to hold study hall? So if a student doesn't need to require additional assistance, but would like to work on homework or study for a test, will that be available?
Those things will be available during office hours. We're currently working on a plan for after-school tutoring. We normally have some after-school tutoring going on as well. And we do have that budgeted for this year. We're still figuring out how that'll actually work during distance learning. So we expect to get that. We normally don't roll that out for the first 3 weeks of school anyway. So in the first 3 weeks of school, you'll get more information about tutoring options and those types of things.
Okay, we get another question here that it deals directly with assessments. How will students take tests during the distance learning, and are there special programs that they're going to use? I'm guessing the special programs must be like the testing environment. I'm just assuming there. So is there any special assessment program that they're going to use?
Well, Google Classroom has some specific assessment programs that allows teachers to lock down their browsers and do some of those things to make it more secure. The main thing that you will see more often in the distance learning format is assessments that require more writing and more what we call DOK4 type of questions or depth of knowledge questions, less multiple choice and those types of things where they can be looked up easier. We need to be able to know if students can apply the information or they're using synthesis during that assessment. In order to make them valid and be able to really assess the student's knowledge. That whoever the parent was that asked that question, that's a really intelligent question. The biggest difficulty in a distance learning environment is how do you assess so you get a true test of what students know on the material that you presented and what gaps in the learning they are so that we can go back and either reteach or give them what they need. So great question. I hope I answered it. You'll see more teachers offering multiple ways to demonstrate learning through assessment, which means that there'll be multiple different types of assessments that they use in order to get a gauge of where students are in their learning.
No, I had the privilege last week to participate with some of the online learning that was going on for the professional development for teachers. And they had over 50 different sessions going on for different types of programs and so forth, either if it's for a math teacher, an English teacher, whatever they may teach. And it was amazing to see all the different, from like somebody like Mr. Kandari who teaches choir to have somebody like, Miss Larson there as well in the same type of training. They're all getting these types of opportunities. We do have another question here from a PTO parent that I remember from when I was there. Hello, Heather. What are the procedures if a student has a problem with their schedule?
Same as it always is. Email your counselor.
Okay.
Email the counselor direct. Email your counselor. We do the best we can to accommodate students and parents. As you know, there's going to be a time where we shut off pretty quickly, whether or not you can switch classes, specifically grade level classes, because we have to be really concerned about balancing and the size of each class. So, but that usually happens in the first week. Students usually know if they have a problem in their schedule in the first week. But email the counselor.
Okay, and I want to say that's pretty much for anybody watching. That's That's kind of how it is around the whole district. They're asking not to make phone calls to the school, but to email them direct. And then in essence, you have an electronic trail there too. So make
Well,
sure
the
the
thing
email
is,
is key.
you got to imagine in a distance learning environment what the phone lines and
Oh,
like right there, it's insane. So you will
exactly.
get faster service if you email the
Yep.
counselor than you do if you're calling down here. We just don't have the capacity. Counselors work. I mean, we have an amazing counseling staff, and they're very efficient. But in that first week of school, it's crazy in
Well,
terms of our master schedule. So you also need to understand that balancing is happening the whole first week. So it's possible that we move you anyway in some of your classes just because of the need of the master schedule. So that happens as well.
so I'll tell you, Mrs. Kubis is just amazing. As soon as we asked that question, she brought up the counseling website in the comments. So if you have any questions, you can go to that counseling website there. That's fantastic.
I have a question. How do you access any of the tutors or the list of tutors that we'll have for our school and our students?
We will post that. Like I said, we won't roll that out for the first 3 weeks or so.
Right.
So we'll publish all of that on our webpage, and we'll send a mass email for the times and everything to the parents when we get closer to that date of startup.
Okay.
Excellent. I also had another question. I had some parents ask me that they didn't get a chance to reply in a timely manner to the distance hybrid, which the choice of what they wanted their student to do. Can they still do that?
Yeah, that's okay. If you go to our website, the letters I've sent out in the last 2 weeks all have links to the form and instructions on who to email that to. The district ran that in the beginning, and their deadline passed, but we still taking them at the school and we update them here. So I believe Kristen Ramirez is the one that is the email that we're pushing all of those to. But if you go to our website, there's a couple of letters that are posted under school communication that actually outline how to do that for you.
Oh, we got another question here. In regards to physical education, what will PE look like?
PE will have daily live contact. You can expect them to be doing some things through Zoom collectively, but then also be given independent assignments through PE as well. But we do expect them to meet all the standard-based requirements of PE within those courses as well.
Okay,
can I piggyback on that with if your student is on a team, coaches are doing a great job of reaching out to their teams and just making sure they're on track for whatever comes about for team sport. So that's there as well.
And we actually had the same question come up during one of our classroom conversation show, which airs on the Desert Sands Facebook page every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 a.m. That asked, what is PE going to look like? And not this week, but next Tuesday, I believe, we have scheduled to have some secondary PE teachers that are going to come on with us and share what lessons are going to look like and so forth. But we got some more questions coming in. This one from everybody knows Molly, one of our PTO and foundation members. Will there be a virtual back to school night?
I believe so. We do not have a date for that yet, and we still have to figure out a platform. It may look a little bit like our virtual graduation last year for some segments of it, but then also be able to offer some live Zoom things with parents being able to access teachers at certain time periods. We're still working on how that will look and what we're going to actually do with that, but yes, we're planning on it, and we'll get back to you on dates. The hard thing to planning those things, if you remember, it wasn't too long ago where we got the governor's order where everybody had to be distance learning, and we got the board decision on that we were starting that way. So it was difficult to plan those things way out like we normally do, but we will get to them all. Same as feature freshman night in the spring, all of those types of things. When we come back to school, we'll do it live if we're still in distance, depending on when we're out of distance or when we're in, and what the county health requirements are, we'll go with it. So we'll look at all of those dates and see. It may be beneficial to wait on that as well. I mean, it was just one of my thoughts. And this hasn't been a decision made, but it may be beneficial to wait and see when the county will be able to open and do the back to school night much later so that we can actually do it in person. I don't know. We'll get back to you with all that information when those decisions are made.
And I also want to allow my services available for that too if you need help with your back to school night. But I also know that you have an amazing Aztec film class that will be able to outproduce anything that I could do live here for you. But I just want to make sure that that's available. We've got some more questions here. This one has to do with student relationships. I know teacher and fellow student introductions may be odd at these times. Are teachers finding good methods in their training? Maybe you could talk a little bit about what some introductory activities are going to look like and so forth.
Well, like we said, we'll focus on social emotional learning, breakout rooms and Zoom. There's some Nearpod activities as well. You know, the biggest difficulty of this is building a classroom culture where it's collaborative that you normally do in a in-person setting. Those are the things that they'll be focused on going into the first couple of weeks of school, how those are going to be looked at. I will warn you, we did a great job of training our teachers. I got to give kudos to our ed services staff, specifically Mike Kent, who was amazing in rolling out a lot of training that students or that teachers voluntarily took in the 10 days leading up to school. And they did a great job with that. The vast majority of our teachers were in many trainings and many days in a row that really focused on distance learning. So we expect some really good things coming out of that. But yeah, kudos to Ed Services and Mike Kent specifically.
They had, Mr. Zink, they had over, I want to say the number's 3,600 different signups for trainings and so forth in those 10 days. It's pretty amazing. We got another question here. This has to deal with athletics. How do freshmen that want to play sports get in contact with their coaches?
They can email them directly, email our head coaches. You know, you can, most everybody knows who our head coaches are. We'll push stuff out via media, social media and media, as well as on our webpage when those things become live. Right now, all youth sports and high school sports are supposed to be shut down via Riverside County Office of Public Health. So, you know, right now we can't do anything. I do know that our athletic directors are meeting often, district-wide and in the Desert Empire League, to figure out plans for both hybrid social distance workouts and when we come back. So as soon as that's able to go and the health department gives us those answers, we'll be able to get back to it. But as of right now, everything's shut down. We've advised based on the health department that all of our travel ball coaches that are linked to our sports teams, as well as the high school coaches, that they should not be doing anything just because of the COVID crisis. So that'll happen. You also can get a lot of information on what the new CIF schedule recommendations are if you go to the CIF website, cifsouthernsection.org or cifss.org, I believe is the website. And they have actually how they've modified each sport. There'll actually be 2 seasons of sport next year starting in January. I think volleyball, girls volleyball, is the only one that starts prior to January. But that's all dependent on whether or not the health department in the state of California releases us to be able to do that. So we're completely dependent on those orders for athletics and anything that we do in person.
And I'll definitely, go ahead, Gerry.
Sorry. So freshman parents and their students, they can like email their coaches now or a coach now if they're interested and just say, hey, I'm interested in, and give them their contact information. Is that the idea?
Sure.
Okay.
And the vast majority of our parents and students have probably already done that, because I've seen a ton of lists. So there's probably some stragglers out there, or some students that are new to our school that just got transfers go through that will need to do that. But email your coaches if that's necessary.
Excellent.
And Priscilla's amazing. She already got the website up there for the athletic department.
Of course she did.
Yes, of course she did. Yeah. And I will say that Mr. Salazar, Coach Salazar, is one of the most active people at Palm Desert High School on Twitter. So you want to make sure to follow him, and his Twitter handle's going along the bottom there. But he definitely gives out some valuable information, not just for Palm Desert High School, but just in general for CIF. We do have a question that came in here in regards to PE clothing. Any chance of getting students' personal belongings from PE lockers from last year?
Yeah, we held a couple of days last year to pick up.
Okay.
Whereas masks, we won't do that again if they're still in there from last year. The message we sent out is anything that was in the lockers went to lost and found on a specific date. So there should not be, because we had to sanitize and get everything out.
Yeah.
There's probably nothing left in those lockers. If you have questions on that, email Mr. Diffie, tag.diffie@desertsands.us. You can find him on our webpage, and he can answer questions specific to PE lockers and clothing.
Okay.
I don't remember that exact date. I'm sorry.
Okay. So we are coming up on about 1 hour. We've got about 5 minutes before we get to 6. Is there anything I was just going to say? If you have a question, please get in here in the next couple of seconds. But Mr. Zink, is there anything that you want to do to kind of wrap up things here? Or ladies, is there a way that you want to wrap up things here? Or I do see that there's going to be talk about how to support the PTO and Foundation this year. Maybe we'll start with you, Gerry.
Sure, absolutely. So tomorrow, actually, 5 o'clock, we're having a Foundation Zoom meeting. You're welcome to join. And what's great about being online with us is that Mr. Zink does a really great job of updating us on anything, and he's very transparent. If you have any other questions you'd like to send, we receive the questions very much like this YouTube, where it goes into a chat, and we just take them one at a time and go through. We also just, we're pressing forward on raising funds to help especially during this time where we have some cutbacks going on, and we just want to help make sure our students are getting the same education, and they will be. Mr. Zink's done a fantastic job, but I encourage you to definitely get on board and join a meeting, whether it be Foundation PTO. So again, our meeting is tomorrow, 5 p.m., and then we'll discuss from there when future meetings will be.
Okay.
So there's a couple of plugs I need to do for that. Normally during our normal registration process, we do a lot of stuff in person, but because of the health restrictions, we were unable to. Usually we ask for memberships to Foundation, PTO. You can buy Aztec athletic or ASB cards for purchasing games, sports boosters, band boosters, choir boosters. You're able to do all of that stuff, yearbook, all of those things in our registration process. We will be sending out via our PTO e-blast, as well as the school e-blast to all parents with information on how to join all of those clubs, what it costs to become membership in those clubs. So that'll all come out separately in the first month of school.
And if you'd like to join our boosters, our sports boosters meetings, they'll have their first sports boosters meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. So you can come to Foundation and then go over to sports boosters if you'd like.
And then also Trisha Ryan is following, and she wanted to make sure that everybody knows that Sports Boosters has a meeting tomorrow at 6 o'clock. And then you can also contact her direct. My question is, in regards to your Zoom PTO and Foundation meetings, do you guys record them by chance? So if maybe a family can't make it, do they have an opportunity? Maybe, and if you don't, maybe that's something to have for the future, so they could see and so forth.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
That's a great idea. Yes. So we haven't had a PTO meeting yet on Zoom, but that's a great idea to record it and then post it on the Facebook page, so anybody who missed the meeting can get the information. And everybody wants to hear Mr. Zink. So.
Yeah. I'm not sure they want to hear Mr. Zink.
They want to grill him. They want to grill him. Come to the meeting so you can grill him. That's
I'll never
positive.
forget that word. When I first moved to Palm Desert as the principal, one of the PTO members said, "Okay, it's get ready for grilling time, because you come up for 30 minutes and they just ask you questions." And I didn't know what to expect with that, but it's been a great experience, and I do really appreciate all the parents that show up and ask questions. I make fun of it or I joke about it, but it's really a great experience, and I think it's I try to be as transparent as possible in the meetings and make sure that you know everything that's going on with your students as well as the staff at Palm Desert. So I do.
You're great at it. You're great at it, and you do a great job of fielding all the questions. And I've seen you sit there for upwards of 2 hours answering all the questions when people are really concerned. So I think that's what makes parents feel better. And I think you're great at doing that. So we thank you as parents for doing that. It's great.
Thank you.
So if you want to go to any of these meetings, feel free to go to our PTO and Foundation Facebook page. Priscilla Kubish does a great job of posting everything from, sports boosters, PTO, Foundation. So any of the meetings that you want to join, go there and get the information. Come join us. We actually are pretty easy on you, Mr. Zink. So, but might have opened up the door there, given us a little wiggle room to do a little more.
Look at that, look at that. So there you have Priscilla's contact information if you want to get a hold of her. And it sounds like we have a band parent here that also wants to do something in regards to band boosters meetings, be online and Zoom and so forth. So contact Julianne Fleischman there. Let's see here. And look at this. You got to love it. Priscilla's going to help her out. They're having a little conversation going on there. So thank you very much, Priscilla. That's fantastic. We are coming up in an hour. Mr. Zink, is there anything else you'd like to share? Where we do have, that's all the comments and questions we've gotten so far.
So here's what I'll leave you guys all with. We'll be ready on Wednesday. My teachers are definitely excited about getting into classrooms, even though it's digital, with our students. The contact I had with students this week picking up books and technology, they did an amazing job with staying distance. Doing the social distancing, wearing their masks, all of those things. I just love our community because they are so supportive of the things we need to get done to keep each other safe and take care of each other. Another great example of being PD All In, right? They were great. Continue to communicate with us the same, and we'll do the same for you. Don't get frustrated. I tell everybody this is the first time we've done everything. It's like we're opening a brand new school and have never done anything like this before. So there is going to be some kinks. That's okay. As we teach our students, being resilient in a classroom requires you to be able to adjust and live with some setbacks and move forward from some setbacks. Our staff and our students and our parents are all in that same boat this year. So be patient. Like I tell our staff, be PD All In, and that means being solution oriented to make this process even better as we go forward. But we're excited to have you. We're going to be ready, and go Aztecs.
I love it. I love it. So just so everybody knows, tomorrow kicks off DSUSD Welcome Week, and we're asking our Desert Sands students and families to post pictures of I know what you did last summer. So of your favorite summer picture, and then please tag the district so we can have that. And we have our Welcome Week information on our website. There's a different theme for every different day. It's kind of cool what they got going on. The ASB advisors from all the schools got together to plan that. And you guys have a lot of things going on tomorrow with your 5 o'clock and your 6 o'clock meetings, but I just want to make sure that everybody's aware again. Special Education for Desert Sands is having a meeting for all families. If you want to know what's going on with special education called Moving Forward, that's at 5:30 tomorrow night. And then if you want to catch any additional information, I'm always on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 a.m. on the Desert Sands Facebook page with Classroom Conversations, where we engage the Desert Sands community. But Mr. Zink,
so Sean, I want to ask you one question, Sean. So the pictures that they're sending in, everybody's sending in their quarantine pictures. That's what you're asking for? What you did last summer?
So the idea is, so I know what you did last summer. So it could be from last summer or the pre.
I'm teasing.
Hey, these are the ASB directors that come up with this stuff, not me, okay?
I just wanted to clarify if we're sending quarantine pictures in or we're sending in the previous stuff.
With green screens and everything, you could put yourself anywhere in the world right now.
Right. I'm in my office, right?
Definitely. Well, once again, Mr. Zink, ladies, thank you for joining us tonight. We had over 70 people at one point who were watching live, and I'm sure this will translate into, probably a lot more of your families seeing and getting some more information about the school year. So thank you very much for taking the time. I look forward to coming back on campus soon. I'm looking forward to normalcy. Hopefully that'll be sooner than later.
Great.
You guys be well.
Thanks, Sean. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Webb.
Bye, everybody.
We'll
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, guys.